have been delivered into my hand, and them will I give thee only if you'll bow down and worship me. But the Spirit of the living God has a way of making you feel so secure that even when a man tries to offer you the wealth of the planet, you are so secure that the God that created the planet is with you, and that whatever you should need, as the Psalm says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That whatsoever you need, that you are secure in him. So Jesus turned him down. And each time that the devil came to test him and to tempt him, he was able to pass the test and resist the temptation because he was secure in his relationship with his God. Each of us haven't really learned power living. That means setting us up to operate at peak performance until we've had a relationship like that with God. Before Jesus got alone in the wilderness, the Bible says the Spirit led him into the wilderness. But when he came out of the wilderness, the Spirit wasn't leading him. The Bible says he was filled up with the Spirit of the living God. That's how it is with us. We've been led by the Spirit to Minister Louis Farrakhan's preaching. Oh, make no mistake about it. You ain't that intelligent. Neither am I. To know that we need to be with this kind of leadership. But after the Spirit leads you to his preaching, if he's really accepted and what he preaches is really embraced, and look, you ain't embraced it till you try to live it and walk it. There's a lot of people can listen to it, but then they set it up so that they can follow him on their own terms and not his terms. But if you are one of those that are following him based on the terms that he has set, even though the Spirit has led you to him, you'll find that the same Spirit that led you now is filling you up with itself. And this is necessary, what I'm talking about, because he won't always physically be among us. And when he's not physically among us, what will the people have other than those that say they have walked with him? And if they have the Spirit that he has, and if they have the light that he's walking with, then the people will have something to come to in his absence. But if we fail in that walk, and if we fail that light and don't have it, then the people would have no hope in his absence. See, if he, like the man that's talking in the scripture, is the light of the world, and that while he is in the world, they have that light, then it means that when he goes, the light that was with him, he takes with him. Are you listening to me now? You and I have eyes and we can see, but if the room is pitch dark, even though you have the ability to see, you won't be able to see without the agency of light. That's right. That's right. You can get tricked into thinking that your own intelligence is guiding you. So what God does, he begins to, because he can't leave you deluding yourself. Right. So the man that's really making it possible, he said, it's expedient that I go away. Well, why is it expedient that you go away? Because you're thinking you're doing this. And until I'm gone, it won't be till then that you realize that it's not you, but it is his spirit. It's not you, but it's me who's filled up with his spirit that will help you to accomplish. And unless you turn to that and get filled with that spirit, you won't be able to you can't do God's work without God. We were reading this morning how in the book of Acts, they showed before their persecutors fearlessness. How did they become fearless? Did they join an organization? No, it says, so when the apostles were set free, they went and they all came together and they prayed to their God to be delivered and free of fear to preach the gospel. Well, that's how it's going to be when they don't want to hear the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad preached anymore. That's how it's going to be when that day is coming, where they're not going to want, and to ensure that it's not preached, they have to shut down the meeting places. Just like ancient Rome, when Nero came to power, all of the places that the new faith that was being preached in Rome was being taught, they shut down all the meeting places. And then those that were determined that even if we don't have a meeting place, we're still going to try to share the message of Jesus Christ. These people began to be martyred, and they were persecuted. And if you study the history, many began to recant their faith and say that, no, I thought I believed it, I thought I was with it, but, I don't go over there no more. Yeah, I was at the Million Man March, but that was about the size of it. I came on home and I went and did my thing, So, the folks, there's a persecution coming that will challenge you on your confession of faith. And so Minister FARRKAHN said that we're about to find out who we really are. And I'm trying to figure out, well, how then, Brother Man, are we going to find out who we really are? That's why Satan is still here. Now we're going to find out how much do we really love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They know they couldn't change him. They just found out they can't change his student. So since they can't change them, they've left them alone. Now we're the target. The woman has bruised the head of the serpent. Because the poison of the serpent lives in the serpent's head. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the serpent is the religious order of today. And by the woman bruising the head, that means that he and his servant have defeated the high, wise arguments of the religious scientists of today. The Vatican has no argument that can stand up to Louis Farrakhan. Jerusalem has no argument that can stand up to him. Mecca has no argument that can stand up to him. Go to Rome and see if you can be saved. Go on a trip to Jerusalem and see, can you be saved? Go to Mecca and see, will Hajj deliver you? And I can tell you, your answer is not in Mecca or Jerusalem or Rome. It's right here in the United States of America. God has come from the east unto the west and revealed himself to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is the gospel that cannot go out of business when Minister Farrakhan leaves us. Well, Brother Minister, where are we going to get that kind of fire? Because you can't get it when you're wearing out. You can't get it when you're getting tired. You can't get it when doubt starts entering your mind and your heart. You can't get it when you're an absentee soldier. When you're AOL, you can't get it. The only place to get that fire, Minister Farrakhan said, you got to go back to the place where you first heard the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You got to go back to where you first accepted it. I guarantee you the fire is there. When you get back to that kind of fire, if you hear him on your telephone, you stand at attention while you're talking on the phone. See, when you get back to that kind of fire, man, you're ready to snap your heels and tell the world to go to hell if it means you got to leave Louis Farrakhan and what he preaches of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's going to take some fire to put his fire out. Some of the forest fires are so big, they can't get in with water hoses and stop them. So they found out the only way to stop the big fire is with another fire. You get ahead of that fire and you burn out some forest, so when the big fire gets there, it's got nothing to feed on. We're gonna fight fire with fire. The word of Master Farad Muhammad, the messenger said, is symbolized in the sun. In fact, he said the sun symbolizes the spiritual root of his word. A book is coming. You can't figure out what we're supposed to do beyond this. I can't figure out what we're supposed to do beyond this point. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, in order for us to move forward, another book is necessary. So don't come to me with your ideas about you found it in the Quran. It ain't in there. The Quran just taking us up to a certain door. Don't write me no letters about you want to meet with the believers. These are Farrakhan's followers. You can't do better with them than he's already doing. Hell, it wouldn't be no believers if it weren't for Louis Farrakhan. You ain't got no authority to examine his FOI and MGT. I don't even exercise that authority. I teach you what he's teaching me to teach you. I tell you what he's telling me to tell you. I teach you what comes from the executive council. I don't have my own program. I'm a part of a program that's already been set. We done tried everything else. That's why Islam is here. Don't come to everything else failed you. So I'm finished with experiments. Hell, it's time for a sure thing now. So there's a scripture that goes like this. Create in me a clean heart. That lets you know you can't do it. You wouldn't ask God to do it if you could do it. Create in me a clean heart. We're not talking about this muscle that's beating in the chest. That's used as you study physiology and the human anatomy, so we get an idea, because the muscle that's beating in the chest, its job is to carry the life fluid throughout the body. Without the heart pumping at the rate that it's pumping, the life fluid can't get to every area of the body to give service to it. So when you talk about the heart, you're talking about the core of a person. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the heart is the seat of a man's affections. You know, what he likes in his heart, man, that's at the center of it. The heart, he said, is the center of a man's intellect. And the heart, he said, is the center out of which all the issues of life flow. So as we deal with community issues, I go to a lot of meetings, they say we need to discuss these issues, you know. I'm knowing from the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the only reason you got these issues because your heart is jacked up. If we had listened to a messenger, if our hearts were right, we wouldn't have all these issues. Well, we need to deal with the issue, Brother Rodney, of us killing each other. Would you kill each other if your heart was right? We need to deal with the issues of men beating their women, domestic violence. You wouldn't have that if your heart was right. Well, our children don't know how to pass a test so that they can get into the building trades and everything. That's an issue we're dealing with. Well, if that's the center of a man's intellect, he would know hell. His body is a magistry of mathematical computations. The earth is 93 million miles from the sun. Light travels at a rate of 186,000 miles per second. At a 93 million mile journey at 186,000 miles per second, it takes that light 8 minutes and 20 seconds or 500 seconds to get to the earth and back to the sun. Did you know that the blood flows through the body the same way? It takes exactly 500 seconds for the blood circulating through the body to make its journey all the way from the soles of your feet back to your brain. And every time the blood crosses your brain, that's registration. It registers your dominant thoughts. So if you ain't got salvation, you ain't got no joy. All you concerned with is issues, and you a victim rather than a master. Every time the blood comes across your brain, it picks up negativity. Then it goes back in your body, and negativity is all in your body. It begins to degrade you. You look negative. You sound negative. Your conversation is negative. You're bent over negative, man. But when you're charged up with the word of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, give it 500 seconds. We got a picture of a negative black man all bent down. But as the word is working through that man over a 500-second span, each stage he's getting up a little more, and by the time 500 seconds is over, the man is standing upright. He's saluting his flag, man. He went from victim to soldier, ready to build a new world. Hallelujah. Man, we need to let the minister know. Dear apostle, if you must go to be with the Father, if it is expedient that you go, know that our fearlessness will come from the love of God living on the inside of us, because that's the Spirit of God, is love. You ain't fearless if you ain't got the love of God in you. You just somebody trying to rely on some street bravado. But let me tell you something, ain't nobody gangbanging more than Yaqub's children. Every missile costs $1 million. We can't raise enough money to get a hamburger and a cup of coffee at a lunch counter talking about we fearless. This man got missiles and everything. He know how to scare the hell out of people. He got torturers that make men cry out and get their grandparents up. We're going to need some backup to help us. Perfect love casts out fear. And man, when they see the love of God that's operating in you, man, he ain't got no missile that can deal with that. He don't have an army that can deal with that. His budget is insufficient to deal with the kind of love. How do you know, Brother Rodney? Because one man's love. And these superpowers can't take Louis Farrakhan down. They can't make him bow down. His love for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has made him a rock in a weary land. So get ready to get suited and booted. And get ready for a fight. Because sometimes it's nothing like a good fight. The Quran tells us there are going to be folks trying to find a way to duck up out of it. But I got a feeling God is leading us away we won't be able to duck. We won't be able to talk our way out of this one. This one that's coming look like it's going to hit us. We might not be able to get away from this one, Brother Calvin. We might just have to take our jackets off and loosen our ties and get ready for this one. Are you ready for something? If you go back to when you first heard the word of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I guarantee you the fire is there. The courage is there. Everything you need is there to be a victor is working on you. But I'm not the one talking today. We got a warrior coming today now. Huh? One night, a sister called. It was a distress call in Chicago. Therefore, I moved out. It was a real call, but then some little stuff behind it. You know, when you investigate things, something else always come up. But nevertheless, the FOI was out. And man, you know, this little guy was going to fight and everything. And so it got time to get the troops lined up, get ready to go back. We weren't in Mosque Mariam then, we were at the Final Call building. So our guest speaker today, he was out, had the command. He said, I want everybody to obey my instructions. He said, everybody walk towards your cars. Get back in your cars and meet us back at the Final Call building. Now, you ever play Simon Says? You know, Simon Says, they'll tell you, Simon says do this, Simon says do. Then all of a sudden they'll tell you something, but Simon didn't say it. And you so used to doing, you just start doing it, but they say, we got you, you out of the game. Simon didn't say it. Well, Minister Abdullah, he gave us instructions, go to your cars and get in. So as the brothers start walking, show you why you need to come to your class. Oh, you know so damn much. You know, we just need to get out. You know, this is what I'm talking about. We getting out, get ready to do something. Well, Abdullah tells you, go to your car. He was in charge. And as people were walking to their car, two white police would say, hey, buddy, come over here. And you know, some people broke ranks. So everybody that didn't obey Abdullah that night, they went to jail. We went back to the Final Call building. Come on. Let me tell you, I don't know what's wrong with us, man, but we putting ourselves up on the bulletin board and everything. We're not really ready for no fight yet. You know, so, but listen, I want us to hear from someone that's going to help us bring on our helper tonight, a hard-working soldier. You know, I love the soldiers that, you know, it ain't an easy life behind the wall. And I've never been behind the wall, but I've been behind there enough going into different institutions to know that life ain't easy. And so, you know, a lot of times when you're in conditions, you make a lot of promises. And a lot of people, they forget what it's like out here. This world is full of distractions. And the one thing that it will distract you from is any claim or vow or promise you make toward your own self-betterment. This world will distract you from it. So many, after being behind the walls, they meant well, but when they come back out, after a few months, you don't see them no more. See, but we got some soldiers, I can, it's really on one hand, I can just about do it. You got Akbar, you got people that come from behind the wall, they came here and they never left. See, we got some. And so one of the brothers I want to bring you, he's been with the minister behind the wall, this side of the wall, on the street and everywhere. He's working this prison ministry. He's our own regional prison reform minister, Brother Gregory Muhammad. Come on, let's put our hands together for a soldier. And as he talks to us for a few minutes to bring our guest minister on. Come on, black man. All right, all right, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Minister Rodney. Our own student regional Minister Rodney Muhammad. Let's give him another hand. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, and in the name of his Messiah, the exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his Messiah. And I further bear witness that their true servant, divine reminder, and divine warner is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet you, family, with the Muslim greeting words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. We are so thankful to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for allowing us to serve in the Nation of Islam Prison Reform Ministry. We have a powerful, powerful, powerful labor and worker with us here today that goes all the way back to the beginning years of the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam. This is a man that walked side by side with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I don't have a lot of time to go into all of the history, but I just want you to know that the brother that will be coming up before you is no stranger to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He knows him very well. Now, I want to talk about something. We're not here to judge, is that right? I see sitting in front of me a brother, a beautiful brother, a hard-working brother from the inside of prison. And this brother was on death row, waiting for the white man to execute him unjustly. Every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, he sat in a cell waiting for that day for them to execute an unjust judgment on his life. This brother that I speak of is sitting with us, Brother Calvin X. Please stand up, Brother Calvin, so that the believers can see and our visitors can see you. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. I want to quickly recognize another brother. I know this brother very well because I was used by Allah and his messenger to inspire this brother and to bring this brother to the Nation of Islam. This brother is what the system called at that time when he was incarcerated a juvenile lifer. Now we know what a juvenile is constituted as being, right? A juvenile is constituted as being a child. And the system, this wicked system of America, this wicked criminal system of America, and no, I didn't say criminal justice because there is no justice unless it's in Islam. So it's the criminal system. And this brother, I inspired through our study group when we were incarcerated at SCI Huntington in Huntington, Pennsylvania. This brother, when he came into our ranks and built up our ranks, this brother never stopped. This brother never turned around. This brother never asked a question that was suspicious. Because brothers do ask suspicious questions after they say they believe. I hope I'm speaking the proper language for you, but this is the only language I can present it in. He never asked, well, why are you saying this, brother? He had the books of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was able to get a subscription to the Final Call newspaper. So he knew what I was saying was right and exact. This brother has been given release from the criminal system as a juvenile based upon a landmark case today for juveniles not being given life without parole, and it goes deeper than that, but we don't have time this morning to go into all of it. He happened to be one of those juveniles that qualify to be released from prison. And this brother that I speak of is Brother Charles X. Brother Charles, please stand so that everyone can see you. How is this possible? It is only possible with the help of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's National Student Prison Reform Minister, who keeps us with all of the tools, all of the spiritual weapons that we need to fight the enemy within and to fight the enemy without. And I'm not talking about we physically fought against anyone, when in some cases some brothers may had to fight physically. Prison is no playground. But if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan would not have started the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam, then we would not have had the beauty, the blessing, the love of Islam as we knew it, with the presence of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that moves the hearts of black men and women to the degree that they are ready to give their life for this new truth that they have received. I bear witness to being on the front lines of that fight inside of the prison system of Pennsylvania. Now, I've talked enough about that. I started out saying we're not here to judge, right? Well, I want to quickly go to a scripture, and you can find this in the book of John. There was a woman that was caught in the act of adultery. And the disciples brought this woman before Jesus. Jesus was bent down at the time, kneeling, when they walked upon him. I'm paraphrasing, you see, I don't have the scripture in front of me. And they said to Jesus, one of the disciples said to Jesus, that we have a woman that was caught in the act of adultery. And Jesus said, where is the woman? And they said that the woman is here. Jesus never looked up or turned around to see this woman. They began to continue to talk about the woman being caught in the act of adultery, and Jesus never got up and turned to see this woman. So when they said it for the third time, Jesus wrote on the ground. And we don't know what he wrote on the ground, but he was writing on the ground. And he said to those that were accusing this woman, those who are without sin, cast the first stone. Those individuals who brought that woman up to Jesus, they walked away. Then Jesus lifted up and turned to the woman and said, woman, where is thine accusers? And she said, they are not here. Jesus said, go free and sin no more. There is no human being that cannot be changed according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we, the so-called ex-offenders, we, the so-called formerly incarcerated, Our sins was forgiven when we accepted the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you can go and read the sayings of the honorable Elijah Muhammad, volume 1 and 2, and you can find where the honorable Elijah Muhammad says that when you have repented from your sins, those sins are never to be repeated. Those sins are never to be mentioned. That means that another person or believer that points out the sin, the past sin of a believer, would be committing a sin themselves. So I just want to say that I can never thank Allah enough for blessing me to turn to his Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that led me to his true servant, divine reminder and divine warner, the Honorable Minister FARRKAHN. And it is through him that I was blessed to meet his national prison reform minister, Abdullah Muhammad. And at this time, with no further delay, I want to bring him before you, who is responsible for me standing in front of you in the presence of the true believers and our guests. If it was not for him, who is a national representative of the Honorable Minister FARRKAHN, it could not happen. So let us bring up to the rostrum a powerful man, a powerful leader, a committed Muslim who will give his life for the smallest believer. Here he is, all the way from Chicago, our national prison reform minister, Abdullah Muhammad. Come on, y'all. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
I know I had all them titles. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Hey, listen, y'all. After that introduction, now I know who I am. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who intervened in our affairs in the person of Master FARRKAHN Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his exalted Christ, his right-hand black God of the universe. And I bear witness that Minister FARRKAHN is the anointed of Allah and the exalted Christ. And in their names, I greet you all in the spiritual greetings of peace and paradise of Assalamu Alaikum. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So, my brother Gregory, this man filed lawsuits, fought to establish the Nation of Islam in every prison they shipped him out of. And any of the sisters in here been to prison? Okay. Oh, that's a good thing. We looking pretty good, brothers. They start raising their hand, you know it's our fault, right? You know what I mean? So I found out, I learned from my brother. I couldn't hear everything he said, so I don't know if you already been told this. So I'm just speaking what I'm speaking.
All right. He on 25 years parole after doing 34 years. "25 years of parole, but being released from doing 34 years. What's the name of the people that send your paperwork up to the parole board? Okay, the unit managers made up paperwork to send to the parole board so that he wouldn't get paroled. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now listen to this. Now Minister Rodney was teaching about going back to that day when you accepted and you had that fire.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? Well, Greg stayed on fire because he was behind enemy lines. So now he got to go before the parole board. So one of the people on the board was a Hispanic. Am I right or wrong? And it was a Hispanic. He came to Brother Gregory and he explained to them, he explained to Brother Gregory that he received the unit manager's reports and it was that big against him being paroled. This man said, but we read, what was your file?
Yes, sir.
And we read everything they wrote and everything in your file. We read every one. And he said, what we found out is for all of the years you've been in prison, everywhere you went, you fought to establish the Nation of Islam under Minister FARRKAHN. He said, when you get out, are you going to the mosque? You know what Gregory said? Yes, sir. You know what I mean? So the man told him that if you come back up in here for anything other than, what was it?
Defending the mosque and defending the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
You ain't getting another parole. You hear me? So now, you ever heard us say the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Well, there it is right there. Allahu Akbar. So, don't think your practicing of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is in vain, because you don't know how many people Minister Farrakhan have affected and what their post or position is. He didn't know the man on the board was that deep into Farrakhan to where he would come to him and say, you know, this what you've been doing. You let anything happen to him. You don't defend the mosque, and you come back up here, you ain't going home no more. Yeah, think that over. You see what I'm saying? Minister Farrakhan taking minds in high places. You know? Allahu Akbar. So now, listening to Brother Rodney, who I think really is talented and got high intelligence and ability, you know. But for him to remember that fight tripped me out. See, you got to be ready when the call is given.
Go ahead. That's right.
Because I wasn't the first officer.
Yes, sir. Talk.
But when wartime came, Brother Khalid called me. He said, listen, brother, you take these brothers, man, and go over there and handle this business, you know? And so, when I got there, okay, y'all can see now, y'all getting ready to get a lecture that is not laid out, right? Okay. It's unscripted. Rodney started it. You know. So I go out to the battlefield. Only thing is, the men that's already on the battlefield don't know I'm in charge.
Right.
So the brother Leotis X. Beasley was my teacher in jail, and he wanted to drive. Trucks for the final call. No, he didn't say final call. He wanted to drive trucks for the Nation of Islam and deliver the newspapers. Well, when he got out, he was able to do that, but he has returned to Allah. But when the minister FARRKAHN bought the first 9 or 10 Peterbilt 18-wheeler trucks, he named them the Leotis feet. So when I arrive on the battlefield, the man is all around this particular person or people on a porch steps. So when I run up and Leotis see me, as soon as he see me, he swing on the man, right? So now the fight break out. Bam, bam, bam. Everybody fighting and throwing down. And so people now, they coming out their house. And now we engaging physically on them. You know, damn, we dealing, right? So now, even though you don't want to fight, you got to fight. You know what I mean? So, because I was coming to try to solve it before the fight. You know what I mean? So now they coming out their house and going to their trunk. Right? So I'm engaged in battle. I got a brother Rashad was in, you know, that was formerly in charge of Minister FARRKAHN's security. This dude was so big, he had Rashad bent over the backwards like this over a car where you couldn't hardly see him. So I came up behind the big brother and I jammed my fingers up in his eyeballs. He screamed like a child. Like, you know what I mean? Then we going across the street fighting, and by me being in charge, I'm fighting and observing at the same time. Rashad stuck next to me. So when we get across the street, this brother coming up out the basement with a bat. Rashad took a couple of steps and leaped, boom, and kicked him back down in the basement. So that gave me enough time to realize, hey, man, people don't come out their house to go to their trunk. Ain't no telling what they got. You know what I mean? So I say, fruit, taste, hot. Right there, the whole street froze. I say, everybody back to their cars and don't stop until you get to the final call. By the end, the police had blocked off the street going that way. So, hey, Rodney, you remember Brother Todd? He couldn't hear me. I said, yeah. Okay, now you know Brother Todd wasn't in the best of shape. So now he got me and Rashad at the end of the line, trying to make sure he make it. So by the time I get up there where the police is at, we see brothers that had more fear of the white man than respect for their own brother. See, if I'm appointed to lead you in the battle, you don't listen to no damn body else. And when we got back to the final call, my position was when it came time to raise bond money, I told Carla, I ain't got a damn dime. I ain't giving them nothing. They can stay in jail. Right, if they had a deal what Allah blessed me to instruct them to do, they wouldn't have been locked up. You see what I'm saying? So since none of us know the hour, and we taught that through the scriptures and things, right? I wasn't walking around the final call because, number one, I ain't the first officer. I ain't in charge. But in the mind of the supreme captain, get Abdullah. I wasn't waiting on the call. I couldn't have no damn palpitations. I had to get to the field. But then y'all can't call us out to risk our life when you the one wrong. If you know you out there doing wrong, your children doing wrong, you don't call us because we don't back wrong. I had this in my own family. Some of my sons graduated from MUI. Man, shut up. What you laughing at? Hey, look. So they get out there selling reefer. Now they wrong for selling reefer, but the police is wrong for the way they went about arresting them. And we know two wrongs don't make a right. But they got everybody on their side because they the law. So this kind of activity from my own children caused my daughter start getting kicked in. Right? Now we know we fight to the death when we attacked. But I had to let the police push me around to try to save my family from getting locked up, because they'll lock everybody in the house up, the whole family. They don't care. And what I found out is I ain't got no punks and cowards in my family. When they kick my door in, my daughters, who ain't even coming to the mosque, took a stand. You understand what? My son, you know what I mean? I had to push them. While the police pushing me, I'm trying to save my babies. Then the next time the police came, oh, you thought that was it? So the next time the police kicked the door in, my son was like laying face down at the one stair that you step on to walk into the house, with a white policeman on him. So when I came out the door, I seen my baby. I double palm thrust his shoulders, the policeman's shoulders. I came out, I said, boom, man, don't hurt my son. It's like that, you know what I mean? So the white police got up off him, then the black police come over and put the cuffs on him, sit him on the concrete banister of the porch. Now I'm looking this way. My younger son, Jabril, is over here on the porch where my son and the black police is at. So the black police, for I don't know whatever strange reason, he grabbed my son, he already handcuffed, lift him up to body slam him face down, right? And this is what I'm talking about. I found out I ain't got no punks in my family. Look here. Jabril say, oh, hell no. You ain't gonna do my brother like that, and bomb rush the police, man. He didn't give a damn if he had a gun. It was two of them. Then I got to the black policeman without telling you the whole story. I already told you it was bogus the way they arrested him. And I told him, man, you know you bogus, you out of order, man. I said, now you getting ready to mess up the life of my young son, man. I said, he paying the Peace League, where all of the gangs got a team and everybody meet up at Father Flager's and play. I say, he's respected and ain't in none of the gangs. I said, Isaiah Thomas chose him as the spokesman. And now you get ready to mess my son's life up when you know you was wrong for trying to body slam my son face down. You know you was wrong. He said, all right, man, my word, I keep my word when I get my word. I'm going to charge your son with a misdemeanor offense, but that one, he going to prison. You know what I mean? So now I can't speak on that because he ain't had no business having that reefer in my house. You know what I mean? He hiding stashes in my joint. You know what I mean? So So when we went to court, I forgot one part, y'all. I needed to know what police station they sent my sons to. So I went to the closest one near my house. So I found out they were there. The police said, we'll be right with you, Mr. Muhammad. They're here. You can have a seat. So I must have sat over there for about 35 or 40 minutes, right? Then they came to the counter and they said, Mr. Muhammad, we're ready to see you. And I walked over, they grabbed me and put the cuffs on me and charged me with felony assault on a police officer because I pushed that white officer. Now you want to stop the killing in the neighborhood? How about obeying Minister FARRKAHN? You're going to see why I said that. Now, I already been to prison. I've been home since 1980, or got out November 10th, 1980 on my mother's birthday. So I've been out all of this time teaching in prisons. And now I'm in the jail lockup for felony assault on a police officer. And that carry a lot of time. I'm laying up in the cell. They come and they ask me, you want a sandwich? I said, no, I don't know what it is. You know, so he left. And then some time went by. I'm laying up in the cell. And I'm looking, in my mind, I'm envisioning processing back into the jail and then going on a tier where all of the brothers that I teach is at. I'm laying there, man, with my visions. I I started putting together my workout program. Because with this charge, I'm thinking I ain't going to be coming on home no time soon. And at my age, I might not make it home. You know what I mean? So I'm already got my workout program. Everything, man. Then he come to the cell, and he opened the cell. And he stood there. And I didn't move. Because I don't practice making no moves when you're dealing with these people. So I just laid there looking at him. Then a little time went by. He said, so, man, what you going to do, man? You going to come out of here or what? I said, what you mean come out of here? He said, man, you free to go. So I looked at him. And I went to come out. He moved to the side. Then got in front of me. Took me up front. The policeman at the desk say, man, you must know somebody way up there. Right? So they gave me an I bond and reduced the charge from a felony down to a misdemeanor. Now, you know how that happened? You know who the person way up there was? Minister FARRKAHN seen we wasn't moving the way we were supposed to move. So he led the FOI out into the field. When he led them out into the field, we was 2 blocks from where I live and 1 block from where my son Jalil Muhammad had got shot in the back. Now Jalil, he went to Muhammad University. But Jalil is a rapper. Jalil Muhammad. He all on YouTube. Jalil Muhammad named himself Cutthroat Maniac. My son. He popular on YouTube too. So Minister FARRKAHN led us out, and that night the police chief was with us. The alderman, I don't know what they call him here in Philadelphia, councilman. So the alderman, the police chief, and other police, you know, patrolling the perimeter, make sure don't nothing go down, don't nothing happen, was with us, and I was with Minister FARRKAHN. And just soldiering with him, like he said, got my charges thrown out. Got my charges thrown out. Y'all hear me? Go ahead, brother. And like I said, I might well keep going now. It's unscripted. So we want to stop the killing, right? Now, what I'm getting ready to share with you as my thought, I just recently thought it myself, okay? But if we would really decide we want to be free and at least in charge of our own community, regardless of what organization you're in, you heard the call for 10,000 fearless. All warriors should have responded. Because if you got 10,000 fearless, fearless mean that you got love for your people. And that's why the minister said if you join it, that you need to be trained by us. Because we going with no weapons. We going out of love. To seek and save. And enlighten our people. So when we get our community, if we got police, number one, they got to be black. That's the only one that qualified. And they got to be trained by us. You got to love your people. So that kill them ain't the first thing come up in your mind when you have to deal with them. So now, let's just imagine all of us was the 10,000 fearless, right? You all right? Because sisters is warriors too. Now just imagine, I just had another thought looking at my sisters in their white garments. It would be hard to do something to her, man, when she come to you in the neighborhood and say, brothers, could you just stop the killing? Yeah, man, how you gonna kill your mama? You know what I'm saying? How you gonna kill your sister? You know what I'm saying? Because this enemy's educational system is what? Gone. Right, because it ain't got no nutrients in it to nourish the black man and woman. And so it's destroying our whole family. And then they so slick with breaking up our family, they turn around and accuse us as being at fault. And most of our, hey, Brother Gregory, what happened to the face cloth? You know where it's at? Yes, sir. Thank you. I perspire a lot, so. So they know that they destroyed us. And this is a Judeo-Christian nation. So they know that God says we are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. But now, let's key in on the next verse. Because thank you, Brother Greg. We're on another day and time. Right? So now we got to go to the next verse. We're destroyed because we rejected knowledge. Right. See, you can't stop it because we lack. That's like saying niggas ain't gonna never get together. Well, today I could say, nigga, you don't want to get together. Where was you at when we had the Holy Day of Atonement in Washington, D.C. in 1995? You there? Niggas ain't gonna never get together, can't work no more, homie. Why wasn't you there? Because you lost hope and you're on your way to death. So now, if we was all out in the neighborhood the way the minister want us to do, and I don't appreciate some of y'all that ain't registered leaving it all on the FOI like, I'll be glad when y'all get the streets together. I don't like that stuff. Because y'all even got watches and stuff y'all can get online. And the minister FARRKAHN and Elijah Muhammad is online. He on what you call it, the World Wide Web. And you acting like you don't know how to go listen to him. You want to leave all the burden on the MGT and the FOI. But Minister FARRKAHN, now I could be wrong. If y'all find out that I'm wrong, let me know. Is the only leader we got that have not compromised. He the only leader we got that's the student of a divinely guided man with a divine program to service all of our needs. He the only leader that you got, I got to change the word, we got, that is buying farmland based on a mathematic equation given to him by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is, based on how many of us it is, how much land do you need to grow enough wheat to make sure all of us got a loaf of bread every day? You know, give us this day our daily bread. Well, when you stuck in Spookville, you can't see a real live man trying to get you to donate to save your life and produce and provide your daily bread. So, then he said, find out how much cattle you need to give every family they, I'm just going to use these words because you already understand where I'm going. With your daily milk. You ain't got no other leader looking out for a whole nation, and some of them so ignorant that they become our enemy. So we got to fight the darkness of ignorance and not kill them, but while we holding them back, we holding them back teaching. You see what I'm saying? Teaching. Hey, brother, the black man is God. You know what I'm saying? Who is that, Brother Akbar? Hey, look, so he got us out here, and all we got to do is carry out the instructions. You see what I'm saying? And brothers will come to our defense when we out there, even the ones that look at you the meanest. Man, I was selling Final Call newspapers in front of a big grocery store. I say, get your Final Call news today. Yes, sir. Right. With local, national, international news with a spiritual core. Get your copy of the Final Call. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Shoot, I stood on that corner about an hour. Everybody was polite. No, thank you. Not today. No, thank you. Not today. There was a brother over there upside the wall. Look here, I've been righteous so long. Oh, wait a minute, I got to change that. I've been striving to be righteous for so long. Hey, look. I can't even show you how mean this dude was. Look, my face muscles look mean, don't work no more. Hey, look. This dude was standing there looking at me, man. You know how they say, like he'll kill a brick? Yeah. So I was getting ready to leave because I said, man, I'm wasting my time on this corner, right? Yeah. I was getting ready to leave. And I looked back at him. And in my mind said, man, can't let him scare me. Hell, I'm asking him, do he want a Final Call paper? Yeah. Now, I can't tell you what he said, but I could use the initials. I said, Final Call, brother? He looked at me and said, go ahead and give me one of them LFs. He the only one on the corner that bought a paper. saying to this man, my man, this nigga ain't scared of me like everybody else. They won't even approach me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So getting out here in the streets, going back to the 10,000 feelers, selling the papers, this reduces the crime rate and the rate of recidivism. In other words, getting out and going back. See, we got to look at the medicine the minister giving us to heal our condition. It will reduce the rate of recidivism and the crime rate. So we got to put it in our mind to hear and obey, go out, seek, and save. And from what I understand, it's a brother working on 10,000 feelers right here in this mosque. We need the help. And like listening to Pam Africa Friday night, brother, it was either Brother Akbar or I read it in the Holy Quran. If it was a near gain and a short journey, we all would have made it. So when you join the 10,000 feelers or the Nation of Islam, we say the truth that we're telling can be proven at no limit of time. But we don't know the time when it's over. You understand what I'm saying? Because God don't move on our clock. So when you join the war, it's fight to the death. And if you ain't dead, keep fighting. Hey, Brother Gregory, help me out. I don't want them to know I'm not refined. So, have you ever wondered, you know, I might reach for some notes before I finish, but have you ever wondered or examined yourself to see how many times do you think about land and territory of your own? If you ain't thinking about it, and especially if you are MGT, guess who else ain't gonna be thinking about it? Your children. And you the first nurse and teachers of a nation. So if you ain't thinking about being free sisters, our future ain't thinking about it because you get us before the future. So we're a team, right? So we got to work together. Because from what I was taught when I first came in, the men carry the ideals of the nation. And the women reflect the ideals to the children. So the biggest problem we got is hearing and obeying, having faith not carried into practice, which equals we ain't done nothing. Hey, with Brother Rodney, if you don't mind, can this microphone come out? Would y'all mind if I sat down? Okay. Put the chair right here. Go ahead and sit down, Brother. Yes, sir. Go ahead and sit down. Okay. So, you know, the children in the neighborhood, they call me Big Homie or Pops. Hey, can I get off course a minute and tell y'all something funny? Look here. No, I left the face card. I went to the corner store in my community. So I had on one of those jackets like people go to college or something, and they had their patches on them. And I got FOI on mine. One of the brothers that got out of federal prison in California, he started making these jackets and selling them and making the caps. So he mailed me this jacket. So I go to the corner, you know, I got my FOI across my cap, my patch, sun, moon, and star, you know. So I go to the store. When I come in, there's a young brother with a young sister in the store, right? So I go to the counter, I get what I got, I leave. When I come out the store and turn the corner heading back home, two young brothers run up to me trying to buy some reefer. So I said, man, I don't sell no reefer, man. I'm with FARRKAHN. Get back up off me, man. You know what I'm saying? So they took off back the way they came, right? So that made me turn around to watch them. And when I turned around to watch them, the barber shop is across the street. The barber and their customers is out on the sidewalk, all of them looking at me, holding their stomach, laughing. Because it was them that sent the brothers to get the reefer from me. And they know I don't sell reefer, right? So now, the girl and the boy that was in the store came up to me. And the brother, he say, what they trying to get you to do, big homie? I say, he trying to get me to sell him some reefer. The young sister say, damn, he called it what it is. He say, reefer. You know what I mean? I say, all right, then, loud. You know what I mean? Or y'all probably call it skunk pee. So I say loud, right? She say, there you go. Now you speaking our language. So if you carry it right in the hood, they know who you are. And to them, doing that to me, that's because they respect me. Now, what if I was working with my son, though? And all of them brothers lined up had seen me negotiate with them and take them with me. You hear me? Yes, sir. Remember what I said? You don't know how many people Minister FARRKAHN have reached and who know you. And some of us, we might not even have Minister FARRKAHN's cell number, but some of the lost found unregistered do. Yes, sir. We got to be a Muslim everywhere we go. Now, let me see. Now, how many of you all, because I don't know if the audience been here more than once or they just here today, but Minister FARRKAHN has a book called The Announcement. Yes, sir, thank you. And I'm saying, I wish I had read it again before I got to this rostrum. But in the book called The Announcement, Minister FARRKAHN was brought to the mother plane. The mother plane is a humanly built planet with 1,500 other bomber planes. The plane and the bombs are made out of the finest steel known to man. Each bomb on the plane is designed to strike land, not water. And I think, somebody help me if I don't say the right thing, I think it's England, Germany, and America. France and France. So it's 4. England, Germany, America, and France. So now when these bombs strike, they got a drill on the tip. And they drill down a mile deep into the earth. When they explode, they bring up a mountain a mile high with a 50 square mile radius, killing everything in that area. I heard that if you ain't got this tape I'm getting ready to mention, you probably gotta call the final call and order it, okay? But it's called God's Judgment on America. I think it's 1982, but it's in California. So if it say Chicago on yours, tell them no, I want the one from California in the early 80s. You know, Minister FARRKAHN, he preached and he get this rhythm and he get to going, right? And he had this rhythm in this tape, God's Judgment. He said, I'm going to try to get it. It's been a long time, and like I told y'all, this is unscripted. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there will be blood in the streets, blood up to the horse's bridle for your rejection of the truth. He said, Allah on that plane may create new creatures with insect bodies and human heads to scare the hell out of you. Y'all hear me? Yes, sir. And it shouldn't have no problem with it because the white man is splicing lions and tigers together. He's splicing goats and sheep. He even got a creature called a liger that's made out of the lion and a tiger. And the liger is so big, they got to climb up on a ladder to get up high enough to feed the mouth, put the food in his mouth. So Allah allowed these things to happen so when you hear from the scientists that can really do it, it shouldn't trip you out. Now some of us don't believe the minister went to the plane because we don't believe it is a plane. Well, you know, the white man, he'll tell you the truth mixed with a lie. And then you'll believe it. So he tell you it's UFOs. What do you stand for? What the F stand for? What the O stand for? Okay? What the O stand for? What the F stand for? What do you stand for? That means the white man is telling the truth, but he's saying, but it ain't mine. And if I was to identify it, hell, you'd be over there with FARRKAHN. You know? So we're taught that it's new vegetation on that wheel. They breathe in pure air on that wheel. They come down into this atmosphere, get what they need, and then purify it in their system. So the pollutions and things we breathing, they ain't breathing. The GMOs we eating, they ain't eating. But God's plan is like when you read the book of Revelations and you read the verses where it say, I saw a city come down from heaven. That's the mother plane. So the white man, he didn't replace the you with a no, did he? He didn't say no flying objects, did he? But he let you know it is one up there, but I ain't going to identify it because it ain't mine. So you got to learn to read in the name of our Lord to discover they telling you the truth and lying at the same time. We ought to wake up every day, and I told y'all I just started thinking like this just a day or so ago. So we ought to wake up every day thinking about our own land and territory. Because we won't have GMO. So you saved right there from disease and modified foods that affect our DNA. So if we would donate, pool our resources, help the minister buy land, that's saving our life. And I'm obedient, so I ain't got no pistol. And I don't want a job from the devil that will give me the authority to have one, because when my messengers say we are forbidden to carry weapons, why should I try to get a job to get the authority of a white man to get one? Now, I know a lot of my brothers, man, if they hear this tape, they ain't going to like me. They probably want to talk to me. But I'm just telling you how I feel. You understand what I'm saying? That's how Abdullah feels. So I ain't figuring out no way to get one, because Minister FARRKAHN told us, and if y'all listen to, happen to be there or listen to this tape where he said it at, he told even his personal security, the E-team, when they come for me, stand down. And if you don't stand down, they're going to kill you. Then you won't be here when I return. So if you got your pistol on and they come to the minister and you obey the minister, that means you might as well have not had a pistol. Because he told you to stand down, so now what good is your gun? And he said if you resist, you pull it, then you give them the reason they need it to kill all of us. So you won't be here. And if one of us go down, we won't be here because of you. So once again, we should hear and obey. Because let me tell you this. I know something about just having the spirit, Brother Gregory. Could you let me know so I could close out at the right time? I know something about spirit. When I was in prison, I ate every other day nothing but vegetables and fruit, and whatever meat they served, I traded with somebody at the table for their vegetables and fruit and they milk. Because, you know, chicken is big. You know? So I was eating good, right? 30 minutes. Come on, give me a yes or no. Yes, okay. So I ate every other day. Now, pretend like this part of the rostrum is a wall. Then you go around this corner, it's a guard standing right here. So now, I'm what you call lean and mean. I ain't got no fat on me. I'm in top shape. And I'm a fearless representative of Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. I stepped in the cafeteria like this. The guard standing right there, he said, Jesus Christ, that guy scared the hell out of me. I thought that was Malcolm X. I'm telling you this in the name of Master Fard Muhammad. I stood there because back then I didn't tell jokes, I didn't play, I was straight militant. I looked at all of the brothers in the tables in front of me. I looked at the guard tower where he got a rifle. I looked at that guard. And I said, man, he got a man in the tower with a high-powered weapon. And they got a perimeter with men with guns. And that wire where I can't make it across the field before they shoot me to get to the wall. But all I did was step into the dining room, filled with the spirit of Allah, Elijah, and Farrakhan, and known to practice what they teach. So in my mind, I said, man, if I could get what's in me and all these brothers, and we can go to the guards and tell them, man, take my spot, man. Give me the keys, take my spot. We getting ready to get up out of here. And see, some of y'all think I'm telling you a joke, and I'm not playing with you. I've done this, man. Just filled with the Spirit. How the hell do you, without a weapon, scare a man in secure grounds? And do you know that Caucasians know who to call on? Yes, sir. Huh? Right. Yes, sir. So why'd you use both words? Why'd you use Caucasian and white?
Yeah, because that's the exact same thing as white.
Okay, but Caucasian mean weak bone, stale face. The white man mean he ain't got no color. He not original.
Right, that's true.
Yes, sir. Is it? I think I'm inclined to agree with you. So I got to hurry up because I only got 15 minutes. So now the spirit of Minister Farrakhan is in the Bible, especially under Isaiah. Isaiah teach more about bringing the inmates or the prisoners out than any other prophet I came across. If I'm wrong, let Brother Gregory know to let me know what other prophet teach more than Isaiah. Now, since I went on script, I hope y'all don't feel like I wasted your time. Now, I'm just going to try to do this. If I get this in, then I'll feel you know, I satisfy myself that I at least gave y'all something, right? So now, listen to this. I began telling you about the wheel, right? I began telling you about the wheel. And don't mix them up, Greg, because, okay. I began telling you about the wheel and the minister's visit to the wheel because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the minister about a plot of the United States President and Joint Chiefs of Staff to go to war with a tiny Muslim nation, and y'all know who it is now, Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, right? And then he said, and they plan a war against the tiny nation of Islam and black youth under the guise of gangs, drugs, and violence, right? Then when he had the press conference, that the upcoming January, the Caucasian white man's newspaper put an article in the paper saying that who was it, Bush? Huh? I'm scared to say it after y'all. Y'all so weak, man. I don't want to say that, man. You so weak, man. You might be telling me something wrong. So what is it? George W. Bush. See how strong I can be when you back me up? So now that the white man's newspaper proves that Elijah Muhammad's revelation to the mind of Minister FARRKAHN is real. So now we should have no reason to doubt him. So now, listen to this. Stop the killing. Well, that's my title. Okay, but the title in the final call is Guidance and Wisdom for 2008. This was a message at the end of 2008. And Brother Richard, the final call editor, is interviewing him. So to get through this quick, this the final call. Recently, you gave a series of lectures titled Justifiable Homicide with the themes Black Youth in Peril, An Executive Decision, and the American Gangster. What did Allah God show you that caused you to deliver these messages to our youth? What guidance would you give to our youth who appear to be targets for slaughter by our open enemy? Minister FARRKAHN, for the last 20 years, I have been warning that the war that the President of the United States had called his Joint Chiefs of Staff to discuss was a war that would be on two fronts, one in the Middle East with a Muslim nation, and the second inside America with the tiny little Muslim nation of Islam and black youth in particular. That is what motivated me. That is what motivated my Stop the Killing tours and my visits to many cities calling on black men, and then the Million Man March and the positive effect that march had on the world's view of the potential of black men in particular and black people in general. Do you know on that day the crime rate fell? That means none of the brothers was on their way to prison. Do you hear me? So everything I'm saying to you, it got something to do with my post as prison minister. I'm just showing us what I'm looking at and understanding that everything he's doing will reduce crime rate, death, recidivism, illness, Because on that day, whether you know it or not, he had you on 1 meal a day. Say, don't eat till sundown. He just didn't say, my beloved brothers and sisters, we in the Nation of Islam practice 1 meal a day, and we would like to know if you would practice it with us on the holy day. You know what I mean? That was law that day. Don't eat till sundown. All right. The government's aim has now come to the point of execution. You hear that? It is an executive decision, and at the highest order, that black youth are a danger to the future of white people. White people are vexed with our young people, particularly our hip-hop artists, who are taking their young people away from the racist white supremacist idea. I'm skipping some things. So the messages of American Gangster promote a gangster style of life, promoting drug culture that leads to death as well as to prison. So he's telling us that they use the media to put in our minds and create a desire to be like the characters they showing us. And that's setting us up for the prison industrial complex. So now I want to read this, and then I'm through. The Minister FARRKAHN, the FBI and police organizations are now working to destroy gangs and to destroy black youth who have found refuge in gang life, in gangster life, in drugs and crime. Okay, now, this is December 2008, right? That I'm reading to you from FARRKAHN, right? Okay. Now, we're in January. And what I'm getting ready to read to you is from Charlotte, North Carolina, in January. It says, 83 Bloods gang members indicted on federal charges. You heard what he said in December, and he said we're at the point of execution now. Now we're in January, and a whole lot of different law enforcement agencies roll on the Bloods in North Carolina. Allegations contained in an indictment said that beginning by at least 2009 and counting until present. Now I got to put emphasis on this again. Minister FARRKAHN's interview was at the end of 2008. He said it's now at the point of execution. We didn't even do nothing but cross the last day of December, and they executed it. And you don't know who you need to listen to and follow? The defendants were leaders and members of the UBNs, 9 trade gangsters. Members engaged in racketeering activity including murder, attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, robbery, narcotics, distribution, and firearms. So now they under arrest. Now I'm going to ask you, where they headed? Come on, say it loud. All right. So I just want to let y'all know I'm still on my post. You know what I mean? In other gangs prosecutions, 3 people from South Carolina. Oh, okay, so they got South Carolina too. In other gang prosecutions, 3 people from South Carolina, Deshaun Earl Chestnut, 24, Matthew DeWitt, 27, and Stacy Cambers, age 30, pleaded guilty on Tuesday to participating in a drug conspiracy that operated in Florence, Charleston, and Myrtle Beach areas of South Carolina. Timothy Singletary, age 22, also pleaded guilty on May 4th to participating in this drug conspiracy. Their respective convictions subjected them to 20 years imprisonment. Now the cold thing is, some of our parents, when we get locked up, they take the position that that's where we belong. I told him. Good for that nigga. That's where he's supposed to be. This your parents. Because they don't know what was revealed to Minister Farrakhan about each president waging a war on them to make sure they had the drugs and the guns. And once he opened up our eyes, Allah said, well, let me open up my people's eyes and let whoever that was create the World Wide Web where you ain't got no excuse for not knowing. I let them create Google. Drug conspiracy, type that in Google. See how many of your presidents come up. Y'all hear me? So the minister said that from Nixon all the way up to Obama was war on drugs, and now it's back on under Trump. And that racist Sessions. Hell, even the way he talk, you can't say he ain't no racist. Look. So I read that to just prove to you that what Minister Farrakhan received from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the plane and put in him, because he said it was like a scroll and then it closed up before he could write it, so that means it's in him. Like the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad's heart. And Elijah Muhammad is not physically dead. So now you got to start meditating on that fact, because what he said he got from Elijah Muhammad proved to be true then and now in 2008. So we're being told in advance of what's getting ready to come down. And you know, when you read the Bible, Pharaoh looked out and said, the children of Israel are more and mightier than us. Come on, let us deal with them wisely and get them out the land. Before they what? Join on to an enemy of ours and come against us. So the war that was revealed to the minister was against 2 Muslim nations, Libya and the Nation of Islam. Under Hillary and Rick Obama, she convinced him to murder for Gaddafi. So that's like the fulfillment of that verse. Because Gaddafi was sending millions over here so that the minister can produce the clean and fresh products. He sent 5 million. Let us cut them off before they join on to an enemy of ours and come against us. So now the only nation that was backing Farrakhan, they killed the leader. So brothers and sisters, I'm saying now we got to start looking for what the minister teaching and looking for what's on the news in the Bible and the Quran. And then you will find that we are off the page in manifest flesh. All right? So I know all my time is up now, but Brother Rodney, it might take me 5 minutes to say this. Okay? Okay, then you agree? Okay, maybe it'll take 10. Hey, but look, y'all, check this out. In the book of Esther, chapter 3, we talking about prison industrialism, right? I am saying that when I read this chapter, it reminded me of the criminal, well, it is criminal, but prison industrial system. So now, it's a prophet named Mordecai. And the other worshipers or bootlickers of the king pointed Mordecai out to a man named Haman or Haman, H-A-M-A-N. They pointed him out and said, he don't, bow down to your God. He don't worship your God. So it say Haman thought to put hands on Mordecai. Then he decided against putting hands on him, and he went to the king and reported that the children of Mordecai are lawless in all your provinces. But if you give me the money, I put the money into the hands of those that will take care of the business. And so I guess back in that day, you took hot wax and you took the king's ring and stamped it. So now he authorized. So like J. Edgar Hoover sent out notices throughout all of the federal bureaus about the Black Panthers, King Ahasuerus gave Haman the authority to send out notices through all of their provinces to kill us all, men, women, and children. So, to me, putting the money into his hands to take care of business, because in that first verse, he said, they lawless in all your provinces, but it does not profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, you. But if you give me the money, I'll put it in the hands of those that'll take care of business. Now we got profit, now we got business. So, in real life, all of, since present day, all of Bush people, what is that, man? Trump's people. All of the provinces under Trump, all of the people of Minister Farrakhan are lawless in all his provinces. And the minister told us that's why he was traveling the land on his Stop the Killing tour. Because he's trying to stop us from feeding the system. See? So now, today, they have privatized the prisons. They even got a private prison suing the state for not making sure their prison is full. Now, I already told y'all, Google it. Do you hear what I'm saying? They suing because they ain't locked enough of us up to fill their private prison. Now what's going to be the trip is when the state pay up. That means we got targets on our back. See, because you got to wonder what kind of people would sit down and negotiate a deal and have it in the contract that they could sue the state if their prison ain't full. Now, you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 42. And depending on what version you read, one version say, all of their young men are snared in holes, hid in prisons, where none says to restore to their former glory. Now, some of us don't believe the minister when he teach on the government conspiracy, starting with the president, his joint chiefs of staff, then down to Congress to pass the law to back up what the president desire to go to war. Then it's the lawmakers. Then it was this brother named Len Bias. He was a basketball player. He OD'd on cocaine. Congress went in to make a law on his popularity because president wanted to war on drugs. So now they're going to use Len Bias to be biased. So they Congress come up with a 100-to-1 crack law. So the white boy can have 100 times the amount of cocaine to my one amount of crack. And for one, I get mandatory minimum. They already done determined how much time I'm immediately going to do. And guess what? You ain't seen and heard of no report that have the scientists have come back and told you that crack is more deadly than cocaine. It's the same thing. But I'm saying, that's why I said bias. So now you got brothers in prison sentenced to life sentences under the 100-to-1 crack law. 2010, they passed a law to reduce it from 100-to-1 to 18-to-1. Now those is the brothers Barack Obama went to visit. Non-violent offenders, but locked up for the same thing under the 18-to-1 as they was locked up for under 100-to-1. So for his purposes and his legacy, he get the non-violent under the 18-to-1 out, right? But guess what? It ain't retroactive, so all of the brothers that's got the same charges as the ones he let out are stuck in there for life. Bill Clinton now, his wife running for president, now he gonna apologize for his omnibus crime bill that produced mass incarceration. Okay, now both y'all out of office. Y'all don't want to be a team and join us and helping to get the 100-to-1 out? Since you done already admitted you was the one that created the problem. So I'm just going to say that and be obedient and close out. And I thank y'all for listening. Assalamu alaikum. Hey, look, I already know, man, y'all gonna go back. When they ask you, was you at the Monster Day, they say, yeah, it was this weird dude teaching. Come on. who coming up?
Brothers and sisters, let's give him another round of applause. National Representative, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's prison ministry, Brother Abdullah Muhammad. All praise is due to Allah. Brothers and sisters, we've been well fed, and anything you didn't know about the prison ministry or things that are going on in the street, didn't our brother bring us a strong deliveries to let us know that these things are going on? Yes, see, the only place you're going to find out these things is in Muhammad's mosque. Nowhere else will you find out this kind of information and coming from a brother who is not just saying it, he's already lived it. So all praise is due to Allah. Give him another round of applause, brothers and sisters. Yes, sir. So as you were listening, brothers and sisters, there was another voice talking to you. How many of us, as we were listening, were moved by what we heard from our brothers? Just by show of hands. Show of hands? Okay. Well, how many are for their first time today? Any first timers? First timers? Got two? All praises. Give them a round of applause, brothers and sisters. Well, the next question is do you believe that what you heard today is true and that it's good for our people? May I also see by show of hands? All praises due to Allah. Well, if that is the case and you were moved by what you heard and you believe that what you heard today, how many today who've been out for their first time, second time, or maybe even a third time, how many would be willing to take the next step? And I can't say come join the Nation of Islam, but come on back home and join on to your own. Accept your own and be yourself. That is the definition of Islam. So if you feel so compelled right now to come on back and join on to your own, I just want to, on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if he were here, he would want to shake your hand. But since our brother is here, I don't have to shake your hand. If you would like to shake his hand, come up right now and do that. And just feel our brother's spirit. You felt him in word. Come feel him physically by holding his hand, shaking his hand. Come on down right now. Here he is, Brother Abdullah Muhammad. There he is. There you are, sir.
What am I saying?
Oh, you shaking the hand.
I'm talking about why I need the microphone.
As our brothers shaking their hands, giving them the greeting. Yes.
Oh, okay, brother.
You want to get their names?
You're just not telling me why they came in my
Yeah, get their names, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, sir.
All right. So now you sure you want to shake my hand? You being recorded? Yes, sir. All right, I just want to... Name, sir.
Hugo.
Man, you got more than one name.
Hugo McKissick.
Hugo McKissick.
Hugo McKissick,
All
Jr.
right, man. I used to wear a ring in my ear like that. Yeah. You know, I used to be a player. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah.
I like you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So what's my brother? Come on. What's your name?
Ezekiel.
Huh?
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. What?
Ezekiel Samuel.
Ezekiel Samuel. See, I'll get him later. So Ezekiel, you know the scripture about the mother plane is under the Bible, Ezekiel. I'm just going to say this and give it back to you. When you read Ezekiel, it's going to be like wheels within wheels. But in the beginning, it's going to tell you Ezekiel was by a river called Chebar. And it's going to tell you that the wheels rose up. And the higher they got, the more dreadful they look. So I'm telling you that so that you can't be tricked by Independence Day. By the closer they get to earth, the more dreadful they look. Because Ezekiel letting you know them planes took off from the planet Earth by the river I'm standing next to and went up. And as I looked up, they got dreadful looking. So I just want you to know they came from Earth. These ain't no aliens. All right?
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. Give them all another round of applause, our brothers that came forward. Are there any sisters today? Any first-timers? None? All praise is due to Allah. As those brothers are being taken care of,
Let us bring back to the roster my Delaware Valley Student Regional Minister, Student Minister Rodney Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. All right, come on, come on. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. We thank you all. We thank you all. That was a good word today. Brother sharing his life with us. It's been a long journey. And so many who have walked with the Honorable Louis Farrakhan from some of the earliest times. And there's only really a handful left of many. You know, had it been a short journey and a near gain, and Minister Abdullah Akbar Muhammad, who is now the international representative for the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, he was based in Accra, Ghana, but when I came in the mosque, and Brother Abdullah was in the mosque, and we were both Rodneys at that time, but Minister Akbar was our assistant minister, and Minister Farrakhan was our mosque minister. So that was the only ministers we knew in the nation when we were coming up. And so we had good teachers because they had both worked under Malcolm X and certainly worked close with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So Brother Minister Abdullah, he goes back a long way. The study guides you have now, they didn't materialize to 1987. We were using something way earlier from 1979 and 80. Most of you all haven't even seen those study guides we were working with back then. There's Brother James from Rochester, and he remembers Brother Ave and others from Rochester, New York in the early years of the rebuilding. And so we've seen this journey. We've seen a lot of people come and go. We're thankful for everyone that is here. But we know that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, we have seen him grow immensely over these years. The first tour he had was Christ's Imminent Return. And then we went into Power at Last Forever before Stop the Killing, the Million Man March, and then, you know, here we are after the minister has proved himself by going to Washington 4 times, and each time drawing at least 1 million people. So when they say he's irrelevant, nobody's listening to him, he's one of the only ones someone is listening to. With everybody listening to them, they can't draw 500,000 people to Washington, D.C. So we know he's not irrelevant, but that's not the point. When someone says, is anybody listening to Farrakhan? Is anybody paying any attention to him? We know they're paying attention to him. It's us. Are they paying attention to us? And so we have to make sure that, you know, our extended hand of outreach is always there, ready to receive our people from everywhere, from one ocean to the next, making certain that that invitation to Islam is always extended at all times. So, but we thank Allah for his voice today and just some of the things that he was able to share when Khalid Abdul Muhammad was our captain at that time, and we had a mighty force at that time, and we were really growing. You know, all of that history is behind us now. We're here to make history, and we're writing a history right now. So, you know, you have to know that when you're living your life right now, you're writing your history right now. And it won't be finalized until you are finalized, and then the period is put on your life. That's when they gather up your history. So while you're on your journey, you know, you're not at the end of your story yet. You can still write some chapters. And if you don't like the way the book has been going, you can change that right now. And you can start writing some new chapters in your life and make this book come out the way that you want it. What we want to do is take up a quick public offering. So we're going to ask you to get $20, $10, and all that. We can do that in no limit of time.